Sweet. I don't have any questions. I mean, mine's a little particular in the fact that I, being a driver, I have a car. Is that a thing? So that's like something specific for me.
So in the case of the driver, you'll note that on the second page of your character sheet, your car gets sort of a mini character sheet. By default, a couple of your stats like speed and handling, those are all at 0. You just choose whatever frame you want. This is not a game where it's designed to be balanced. Like, having a bike is mechanically not as powerful as having a semi. So what? Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Let's just say you've decided, I want a sedan. Okay, cool. That means your massive value is set at 2, and then you get to pick 2 battle options. Regardless of the frame of your car, you just get to choose 1 or 2 strengths, 1 or 2 looks, and 1 or 2 weaknesses. And this is another area where I'd say Apocalypse World shines as a system. With games like D&D, it's often very clear mechanically what's in your favor. You want bonuses, you want big numbers. Unless you're really open to role-playing weakness, you want to minimize how many low numbers your character has.
Okay.
Whereas here, weaknesses for your vehicle: slow, loud, lazy, sloppy, cramped, guzzler, unreliable, rabbity. These don't have individual mechanical things. There's no rule that says, if Ben picks guzzler, check fuel consumption every this many rounds. It's just designed to be something that the GM can tag every so often to say, like, oh, is now a terrible time for you to be out of gas? Guess who's driving a guzzler? That'd be you.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I got that put together. I'm figuring it out right now. So I'll let you know when I get it all put together for you.
No problem at all. Did anybody else have questions regarding their individual playbooks?
I did have a question.
Please.
Is it better for a brainer to use deep brain scan or in-brain puppet strings?
There is no easy answer to that. Pick whichever one you think is cool.
Okay.
One more quick question. What does highlight mean?
So that's something that is a little difficult to show off during a demo. That's much more of a campaign mechanic. But what it is, there are different ways you choose who highlights something. In general, at the start of the session, you'll highlight 2 of your attributes. Whenever you roll those particular attributes, you have a chance of generating additional XP. And usually, you'll highlight 1, and the GM will highlight 1. Sometimes you can have another player choose which one to highlight. Sometimes it can be fun to pick the character that you have the lowest history with. And I've seen different GMs roll it in different ways. Sometimes it's anytime you roll a 6 or less for a highlighted stat. Sometimes it's anytime you roll a 10 or greater. Personally, I like doing both, because that way you're rewarding success and failure. Anytime you would roll that for a highlighted stat, just make a mark towards experience.
Okay.
In a one-shot, it's generally not as important to track that.
Okay.
You'll also notice everyone has a little harm clock in the bottom of their sheet. Roughly the first 3 sections, from 12 to 9, that's normal. You take some damage, you fill in that section, you can heal with time. Those final 3 indicate a lot more massive damage. And damage here is pretty straightforward. If you're wearing clothing that has armor 1, and I toss a grenade that's damage 2 at you, all right, you're taking 1 damage. If you're at midnight and someone brings you back, well, you have to choose one of those 4 options. Come back with 1 less hard stat, come back with +1 weird. And while that's a very small mechanic, I think it's important because A, trauma can leave you strengthened. It can also leave you horribly messed up. But it does give the PCs some encouragement of, okay, I took a risk, my character's badly injured, it's not just a negative. You also see change to a new playbook. Oh, did you come really close to death? Well, you came out of that a changed person. And now you're going to be different. Maybe you're going to keep some of your old moves. Maybe you're just starting over completely. And then the final option is dead. The idea there is, this is the apocalypse. As written, it should have somewhat of a darker feel, so, hey, did you cheat death 3 times in the last 3 sessions? Sorry, your number's up. But again, these rules are very good at being modular. I might toss that if I'm running for teenagers. It's not going to be as fun. So at this point, what I would like to do, if anyone has more questions, we'll go over those. Otherwise, I'd like to go around the room and do 3 things that everyone would notice or be aware of regarding your character. So, any other questions folks would like to hit on? Okay. Pietro, at random, I'm going to start with you. What are 3 things that folks might know about Pietro?
So Pietro is stunning. There were several body types that I had to choose from. I circled muscular body, but I want everyone to know that what I mean by muscular body is he just rocks a dad bod in a way that's like, sick, nice, look at that guy. He's seen a couple. He's wearing like jeans and a flannel, but he's attached like steel plates to that, just in like strategic areas where, you know, it's helpful. It gives him some good armor, gives him, you know, -2, right, like two to his armor. But it also just looks sick. It just looks cool. It's like shiny, it's polished, but it's like grimy, but like strategically grimy to just like accentuate that like flannel and the jeans and all that jazz. He's also got the sickest aviators that you've ever seen in your entire life. He doesn't remember where he got them. Every time he talks about it, the story's different. But the one thing that really, really stands out about this guy is he has a ridiculous Conan-looking battle axe that he carries with him. And he got this at the charred remains of a Ren fair that he just happened to walk through at one point.
Awesome. I really like. Key, what would be 3 things folks might know about you? And if you'd like, we can come back to you if you need a sec.
So they're fairly tall but thin with a kind face, but they definitely look like they're ready for things to go down. They have a lot of utility gear strapped to them. They have a pistol at their side, and they just seem like they're ready for action, or they kind of have darting eyes, like they're always looking for something to go down.
Okay, very cool. What about Pinto, our driver?
Pinto is about 5'6". He's got kind of ashy pale skin. He's got permanent tan lines where like goggles should be, as he like wears them on his head, but then puts them back on. And it's a mix of like a tan or like a sunburn, as well as like oil. That's like the only clean part of his face is around his eyes. He doesn't wear a shirt. He's like fairly muscular, a little bit like a wisp of muscle to him, as he's more or less just kind of scrappy. But he's got a pair of like really dark, tattered cargo jeans on, or like cargo pants, not jeans. And yeah, it's all oily and got all kinds of gunk from fixing his beloved 1971 Pinto.
Now, perhaps even more important, what's your car's name?
Oh, I guess you're allowed to know that, but not a lot of other people know that. It's something that he whispers under his breath. And it's Lexi.
And what are the positive and negative traits you chose for Lexi?
So, is tight, responsive, vintage, quirky, cramped, because it says like choose one or two. As well, the other negative or the other weakness I have is a bit rabbity.
Okay. So, without getting into stats, we already have a pretty good idea of Lexi and Pinto's relationship. Last but not least, tell us about Pity the Brainer.
Pity, every time we've heard Pity speak, it's with a kind of deep masculine voice. He is wearing this kind of white flowy garment, and he always has this cloak on and this face mask, so you don't really get to see anything more than basically his eyes, which look completely dead. Like there's hardly ever any emotion actually shown, but the rest of his face is like completely smooth. You never see any of his hair. It's covered in this kind of turban like look. And from what you've been able to tell from different times that you've been around him, he doesn't have that very muscular body. It's more of kind of this soft-ish body, and he always has a glove on his right hand.
Okay, so that gives us a little bit to go on. So, what I would like to do first, I'm just going to ask everyone to read aloud the questions that their character has in their history section. We'll go in reverse order, so we'll start with Pity. Don't worry about answering it first. I want everyone to just listen and hear, okay, these are Pity's history questions, these are Pinto's, and so on. And then once we've gone through, that's when we'll actually go around the table and start answering who gets history with who.
Okay. My three questions are, which one of you has slept in my presence, knowingly or unknowingly? Which one of you have I been watching carefully in secret? And which one of you most evidently dislikes and distrusts me?
I've definitely slept in your presence. I feel like I'm always taking strategic naps. Like when the light is just perfect, I'll like kick my feet up.
Strategic naps.
Like Instagrammable naps, you know what I mean?
Pinto, what questions does your character have?
All right. Oh, I was about to read the wrong one. Which one of y'all got me out of some serious shit? Which one of y'all has been with me for days on the road? And which one of y'all have I caught sometimes staring out on the horizon?
Oh, that third one would be me.
All right, Key, what history questions you got?
Which one of you do I figure is doomed to self-destruction? Which one of you put a hand in when it mattered and helped me save a life? And which one of you has been beside me all along and has seen everything that I've seen?
All right, and last but not least, Pietro.
So I have a simple question, which is just, which one of you can I trust, and who among you can I not trust?
So some characters do get a slightly shorter list of questions than others, but just from going around the room briefly, we already had some people jumping on things, like the staring off at the horizon. Who was it that wanted to jump on that?
Pity. Pity definitely stares off in the horizon.
Okay. And it was, I believe, our driver who had that question?
Yes.
Okay. So then you would just make a note, pity, history +3 on your sheet. It is entirely possible that relationships are not symmetrical. You might have very strong history towards him, but he may not necessarily have strong history with you.
Okay.
Pity, there was another question you had read that I believe Pietro was jumping on.
I think the only person I think the only one that Pietro jumped on was the slept in my presence. I don't think anyone else had jumped on the other two.
Okay, but
What were
you're
your
good with Pietro having slept in your presence knowingly or otherwise?
Oh, definitely.
All right, then for the brainer, you would just make a note, history +2. And that's the other thing, like, this is a shared experience. So if Key was like, hey, I totally wanted to do that one, nothing says that you can't share that question with 2 PCs. Really, the idea here is to take maybe 10 or 15 minutes to create a lot more cohesion than just saying, all right, you've all got your characters, so you're all at the bar when. Instead, having this history gives us a little bit more of that feeling of being a group.
Okay.
I think that for keys, I would either go for you feel like I'm doomed to die or that I've seen everything. Those would be the two questions I would be interested in, but it's up to Pinto and Pietro what they would want to do.
Didn't you have one about a helping hand, Key?
Yeah, which one of you put in a hand to help me when it mattered to save a life?
That'd be me.
Okay.
What was your third one, Key?
Which one of you has been beside me all along and has seen everything that I've seen?
Key, we've been together like forever. We met in kindergarten. It's been going on since then.
Okay, so then you think I'm doomed to die.
Doomed to self-destruction.
Self-destruction.
That doesn't necessarily mean death, but yes.
Yes, that's what I think. I think pity would fit into that. I think that's fine.
Your character leans more into the weird, right?
Yes, very much into the weird.
Okay, and yeah, all right. So.
Does anyone believe that I may have been watching you carefully in secret?
Is that your only other one?
The last one is, which one of you evidently dislikes and distrusts me?
Oh, I don't.
I would say that one's probably me because I instinctually just look out for other people. And if I kind of think that you're doomed to self-destruction, I would be wary of you, maybe.
Okay.
I'll do the other one then.
Okay.
The one that I think you've been watching me.
And this is a thing that GMs can modify. Like, as is written, the brainer is inherently going to come off as a somewhat creepy, standoffish character.
Mm.
It doesn't need to be that way, but that would require a little bit of tweaking on the part of the GM and players. If you're running it right out of the box, the brainer is going to just come across that way.
Pietro, I think that you can trust me.
Noted.
All
This
right.
is an important question. Who can I not trust?
Oh, the driver, totally.
I mean, I'll take it. I
would assume you could trust me. I would have tried to help you once or twice, but that's up to your perception, I suppose.
This does raise an interesting point, which is what happens if no one wants to jump on a question?
Mm-hmm.
With adult gamers, that's rarely a problem. Someone will want to, or is willing to flex a little bit. More with teenagers, you might have a group where, like, everyone wants to play a trustworthy character. No one wants to be the odd man out. In that case, what I have done in the past is allow the person who's reading the question to create an NPC. So if, let's just say, no one wants to be untrustworthy, then maybe Pietro decides that there's a guy called Greasy Tony. He runs the only pizzeria in 50 miles. Don't ask where he gets pepperoni from. Don't ask really any questions. You don't want the answers. And Tony is completely untrustworthy. Awesome. I, as the GM, didn't have to make up an NPC, and we've established another potential hook for Pietro by doing that. So if there's ever a question where, like, none of the characters really fit, feel free to make up an NPC. For a game like this, which is so narrative heavy and mechanically light, some GMs will just flat out say, everyone gets to design one NPC, good or bad, that's a part of the world as part of your background. I'm not going to throw that at you guys tonight, but if you really want to encourage creativity, I've found that this can work very well. Very few gamers don't have ideas in the back of their heads for fun side characters, and it can also be a good way to show them how negative relationships can be positive at the table. If Pinto wants to create Racer Z, the mysterious masked racer that's stolen 3 different races from him at the last minute, and they've got this big feud going, and his main goal is to unmask Racer Z. Awesome. Again, that's just giving me more fodder as the GM. Though I will want to make sure that the player understands that's a side story. It's not going to become the main focus of the campaign necessarily.
Question.
Please.
So I think I'm interpreting the Battle Babe rule on history correctly, because it says that I am indifferent to what is safe and I'm drawn to what is not. So the characters that I can trust get a -1 to history, and the characters that I cannot trust get a +3 to history. So does that mean that, like, I'm looking at Pinto like, I don't know what's going on with this guy, I must know more? Is that kind of what's going on there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, deal.
I do have 2 more from mine as well.
Go for
So
it.
I'll be sketchy for you, Mark. No worries. So the other one that I have is, which one of y'all got me out of some serious shit?
That probably would have been me.
Okay, so then I got key +1.
This is also a good time where both the GM and all the players want to keep an eye out for, is anyone low on connections? Like, if Pietro only has 1 connection, but Pity and Key have 3, then I'd want to steer it a little bit more towards, hey, let's get Pietro connected to more of the party. And if these are clients that maybe you've worked with for a time, and you know that this particular client is a little bit more reserved, a little bit more in their shell, maybe you encourage them to play someone that has a lot of mechanical connections through history. Or if you've got the time, you might even come up with custom history questions for them. Or you might decide, Ben's playing a Battle Babe, but you know what? I think the history questions from the driver are going to fit that character a lot better. Let's just switch them around a little.
What was your third question, Pinto?
Oh, last one is, which one of you has been with me for days on the road?
I'd say that's also me, which means if Angel and I have been together since kindergarten, that means the 2 of us have been with you for days on the road. Would that be fair, Key? I don't want to answer for you.
Yeah, I would say it's a group effort.
And somehow I managed to catch you napping. Fun.
Yeah.
at the gas station we stopped at.
I caught you looking at the horizon. Cool.
So it says at the end of doing these different questions, we have to decide or ask the player with
Don't
the
worry
highest
about
history?
highlighting for tonight,
Okay.
since this is just going to be a one-off.
Okay.
That's not going to really factor in.
Okay.
So, everyone will notice under gear, it will usually mention if you have oddments worth 1 to 4 barter.
Mhm.
So, just to show off the mechanic, this is the apocalypse. There is not enough to go around. Everyone needs to either spend 1 barter, or you are starting today's session in a bad spot. You don't have to spend it. You won't be dead, but you will be hungry. So, who wants to spend 1 barter, and they've taken care of their basic expenses at least through the end of the week?
Quick question: where do we find our barter at?
If you go to the gear section, this will be on page 2 of your character sheet. Under creating a blank, there will be a section called gear, and one of the bullet points will usually say oddments worth X barter.
Okay, found it. Yeah.
There are a few characters who might not start with any barter, in which case you don't have anything to spend.
And there are some that start out apparently very rich.
Yes.
I got 4. I will
got
spend
4.
1 barter.
I'm only got 2. I'm gonna spend 1.
I'm spending
Okay,
1.
so
I'm not going to spend 1.
the
Ooh.
only one who did not spend any barter is Pinto.
For shame.
You just can't trust that guy. You know what I mean?
Always doing something.
Hey, I'm gonna need it. I got some oil. My car ain't acting up, or is acting up, and I gotta keep it going. You know, and
It's not acting up in the way I want it to act up.
she don't ride as good as she should. And if she don't eat, I don't eat. Okay.
This
Pinto,
voice
that's
is going
nonsense.
to kill me.
Oh, Bo. What am I going to do with you?
Well, hopefully, give me some food.
Hit the next gas station.
How long have we actually been running around as a group?
Well, me and Key since kindergarten. He needed markers. I had markers. We just kind of hit it off from there. But I don't know. I've been around him so long. I'm just really not. I don't really think about him really at all.
Well,
I mean,
Call that PA,
you know,
pre-apocalypse.
If you're really having on that such a difficult time, Pinto, I suppose I could get you something.
Oh, it's all good. I'll figure it out. Lunch is sometime.
So,
Thank you, though.
before we get this ball of craziness rolling, any other mechanical questions you guys would like to toss around?
Question that I have at this point is in my gear, it says fashion suitable to your look, including at your option a piece worth 1 armor.
So the idea here is there are a lot of systems, Shadowrun, Rifts are 2 good examples, where choosing your equipment is part of the fun of character creation. There are vast amounts of tables and catalogs to look through, and Apocalypse World is not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, fashion suitable to your station, that's just make something up.
Okay.
If you are playing a character that comes from a rich background, you have jewelry. If you are playing a Wasteland Raider, you have a filthy loincloth and a poncho. Whatever. In regards to armor, the idea is that armor 1 is, light armor. Maybe it's patchwork, maybe it's some hardened leather. Armor 2, now you're starting to get into some metal plates or some reinforced material. And anything armor 3 and above, that would really be the equivalent of full plate, modern Kevlar tactical equipment, or something super tech.
I'd like to. Can I spend a barter to get like a leather vest?
You don't even need to spend that.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing that just comes as a part of gear appropriate to your look and station.
Okay.
And this is a technique I strongly recommend using with kids and those who are new to roleplay. One of the downsides to D&D, for example, because it says, hey, you get X much starting gold, well, I need to go through that chart and buy everything I want my character to have. Here, by just saying you have gear appropriate to your station and your look, awesome. Up to the player to determine, and it's not really going to unbalance the game if Key starts out draped in gold and diamonds and Pity starts out in a towel. Because you'll also note, this does not have a barter value. So if Key's trying to say like, hey, Ben, I started with, all this bling, I can barter that, right? Well, what does the GM think? This settlement, they care about food and bullets. They can't shoot your jewelry, and they can't eat it, so that's worthless around these parts.
Okay.
It also lets you stay a bit flexible. Like, you don't need to define what do you have for barter. You just make a note, okay, I have 3 barter. And then you come to a settlement, hey, it just so happens whatever they need, well, you just have some of that as the barter you wrote down on your sheet. Anybody else have questions they'd like to touch on? All right, so currently the 4 of you are staying at the Lost Wages Hotel and Casino. Looks like the sign saw better days, and it used to say something else, but it's been badly remade. The hotel probably was a tenement building at some point. The carpet originally had no patterns, but has been stained so badly over the last several decades, and has received so few cleanings, that most of the rooms now appear to have some sort of mystical paisley spread on both the walls and the carpets where filth and oil have just sunk in permanently. The casino, on the other hand, that place is not quite so shabby. It's actually kind of pleasant in there. They seem to have something resembling air conditioning. There's a restaurant attached with some decent food, if a little questionably sourced. And you've all been taking the last few days to rest and recover from your travels. Except for you, Pinto. Because you find yourself in the office of Boss Harvey, the maitre d' of the establishment. He looks over at you, smiles a not friendly smile at all. So, that case of ammo you paid me with the other week.
Oh, yeah.
That case of non-functioning dud ammo that is absolutely worthless to me.
Look, I thought dust was a good replicant of black powder because it was black.
Are you honestly that dumb, or do you simply think that I'm currently drunk?
Didn't think you'd use it that fast. I just...
So you thought I was that dumb, which means you're even dumber than you look.
Potentially.
This is a problem, my dear fellow.
I understand.
And I'm going to have to silence that phone. I will be 1 moment.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
I thought he was still like setting the mood.
I just signed that.
Let me silence my
That's
phone
a-
before
he
I
just-
send you to the kids.
That's like the Flintstones where he has like a bird that rings and he just shoots it in front of me. I'm like,
Telepathic mole rat, actually. Birds don't live long enough.
I was impressed. I thought it was anyway. Yeah.
So this is the part where you offer me a very large and very valuable item and explain that's why I shouldn't have you drawn, quartered, and possibly turned into tomorrow night's hors d'oeuvres.
Item, huh? I've got 4 barter. No, actually, look, I ain't got much. In fact, I barely had that ammo, as you understand now. I kind of had it, didn't really have it. But what I do have is a set of skills. You see, me and my padres are really and my I like lean in really close about it. My wife, we are really good at procuring things if you are needed something.
So at this point, you notice that the twitching corpse of the psychic mole rat appears to be screaming again. Please excuse me for just a moment. I will be right back.
All right. That's amazing.
I cannot get over this voice.
It's perfect. It's like that's the voice of a.
Did you see that chicken?
That is the voice of a man who has eaten 2 raccoons in his lifetime.
Well, when you get them on the barbecue and you have it on a spit, and you use what is it? Oh, coolant as a dressing. Oh, that's I've got every one of you rolling right now.
Damn it, Bo!
I'm officially deceased.
And anyway, as I was saying before, your mole, sir, was going off. Me and my compadres have a certain knack for obtaining things that you might need.
Things that I might need.
Right. Like, for example, good ammo.
I do have a bit of a need for that. You can see some of the teeth in the back of his mouth grind together. Meanwhile, we're going to cut away. The 3 of you been enjoying the amenities of lost wages. There's blackjack, there's craps, there's poker, and there's an all-you-can-eat buffet, though you're pretty sure the cook's motto seems to be, it's not food, it's an adventure. There's also a swimming pool in the sense that there's a large pit filled with water in the back. You can't really see the bottom. Yes, there is a fair bit of algae. What have the 3 of you been up to this morning?
I just want to start by saying that I am all the way in that pool. Is there anyone else in that pool with me, or is it just me?
There is one young child whose father is, you're not really sure if he's sunning himself or unconscious nearby the pool. The kid mostly seems to be having fun tearing off bits of algae and throwing them at passersby.
Gotcha. I completely ignore the child. When I note the child is there, I become faintly aware that at least some of the water in this pool is now pee. But I still, nonetheless, knowing that an Instagrammable moment is upon me, I dunk my head under the water and I just lift up and send a shower of droplets back behind me, my luxurious beard glistening now with the fetid algae pool water. And I just look around to see who's noticed me, my mouth slightly agape. That's been my whole day. It's just
question
on repeat.
You see, this pool is outside the building?
Yes.
Okay, so Pity will actually have been on top of the building, kind of just looking off into the distance. and then upon hearing the noise from the pool, we'll just look down and go, ugh, again?
Always. Now that I know for sure it's outside, I've like strategically positioned myself so that anyone who can see me can see like the sunlight through the water through my hair as it goes backwards. It is stunning.
And Key, what are you up to this morning?
I probably would have been with Pietro, but not really paying much attention as I'm kind of trying to. Now out of game, do we know where Pinto is and what he's up to?
He was supposed to join you guys for brunch this morning, but never showed up.
I would have been finishing a second or third plate of breakfast while looking around, kind of thinking the worst about where our driver has gone off to, and kind of like people watching, I guess, just attentively looking around, thinking the worst.
You know what? Give me a roll to read a situation.
Okay, where can I find the mechanics for that?
So in this case, go to page 27 of the PDF we're working on.
Okay.
Roll plus your sharp score.
Okay.
So 2d6 plus whatever your sharp bonus is.
Um, 13.
All right. So on a hit, you can ask me questions. You basically get 3 questions. It gives you a list of some samples there, but don't think that you're limited to that. So you could come up with the question, where's Pinto? And that's absolutely fine. You'll also note that it says, whenever you act on one of the Master of Ceremonies answers, take +1. That means you get a +1 bonus to the next immediate roll. So if, let's just say, you ask the question, what's my enemy's weakness? And I said, oh, it's the chandelier above his head. Great, my action's going to be to shoot that chandelier. Cool, you get a +1 bonus because you took time to read the situation.
Okay. You said I get 3 questions?
Yep. And again, some GMs are a little stricter with this than others. For me, I usually say it lasts for about 1 scene. In this case, you don't need to ask all 3 right now, but if, let's say, 20 minutes pass, you're still mucking around in the hotel somewhere, you come up with another question, that's fine. Whereas if in-game, you've all left the casino and you're having a shootout on the damaged interstate highway, you've moved on. You don't get to ask any more questions from this roll.
Okay. Kind of being on edge the whole time, looking for possible danger. What should I be on the lookout for?
There are 3 potential dangers that you've noticed in the area since you came to town. Scarsdale seems to have some pretty nasty storms that roll through town occasionally, though right now the coast is clear. You don't really know too much about the gangs near town, but you know that there's at least 1 gang, supposedly not human, a little ways to the north. And Harvey, the boss of Lost Wages, has a vicious reputation for anyone that tries to take advantage of him, often going missing, never to be seen again.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Or
so,
Pinto.
all right. So
It wasn't my fault.
shit. Second question is, can I maybe deduce where Pinto might be? Would that kind of piece together with the last piece of information that you gave?
Well, you haven't seen him next to his Pinto, so probably He'd either be working on his car, still asleep in his room, or Harvey might be having a chat with him.
Correction, sleeping in my car.
Which you still refer to as your room.
Okay,
Yes,
so
that
with
makes
that
sense.
with that knowledge, I'm gonna save one of my questions, and I'm gonna look over at Pietro, who is splashing in the pool, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, you haven't seen Pinto in a long time, have you?"
Pinto? No, I
Yeah.
don't believe I have actually. That's troublesome.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
not.
I'm gonna lurch myself out of the pool, and again, I'm just like cresting up, dad bod in full display, just hairy where he shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's really not good. Maybe it could be that one of the gangs in town got him, or maybe the owner of the establishment is having a talk with him. And you see me kind of nervously eat a little more food.
Okay, we should probably get pity and see if we can locate our little lost lamb, huh? And then he just
I
like,
think so.
smolders at you.
I think so
Also
too.
Smoldering.
Do they see where you are up on the roof, Pity?
I'm not hiding. I'm just kind of at this point, after seeing the display, I just kind of turn back and start kind of looking off into the distance again.
So, Pietro, you were saying you were going to Instagram that pose?
Oh, absolutely. Is Instagram
Agreed.
a thing in this post-apocalyptic world?
Sort of. Yes, it is a thing. You
Perfect.
currently have a whopping 7 followers.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
You're pretty sure you're one of the most popular guys in North America.
Hell yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Two of them are both named Pinto.
I'm gonna assume that Pity is one of my followers, and I'm gonna just like DM him. I'm like, "Hey man, I see you up there looking all broody. We need to locate Pinto."
So meanwhile, back in Boss Harv's office, he puts a very large case on the table in front of you and begins unlocking it. You recognize that there's a rifle in it. Do you happen to know what this is, my good man?
Oh, there's a point and shoot.
As you so quaintly put it, yes. However, as he begins very gently taking out this rifle, and even though you may not be a firearms expert, you can tell it's very well maintained. There's no spot of rust on the metal. It looks like it was handcrafted and fits into his arms just perfectly. This is one of my most precious possessions. It's incredibly valuable to me. And that, he gestures towards the window, is my parking lot. And do you know what's in my parking lot right now?
I'm gonna say cars.
Oh, you are smart.
Oh, right. I like lean back. Whew.
Would you be so kind as to take a look and tell me which car you see in the central parking space, please?
I guess I'll look. Do I need to like roll or anything?
Nope, that would be
Oh.
Lexi.
Nah.
Oh, I
As you
just
see him reach into his desk drawer, pull out what is very much not one of the bullets you attempted to sell him. and
oh,
load
that's
it
not a
into
good
the
quality
bolt of the
bullet
rifle.
right there. I got one here, right here. Oh no.
We're
all right.
going to make this very simple for you, my dear sir. You have 1 day to discharge your obligation to me, or I will be using
Okay.
that to test the quality of this.
All right.
Now, being that you have such a special set of skills, I'm sure you wouldn't mind acquiring an object for me.
Oh no,
From a
definitely not.
friend. Excellent. Well, there's a gang. They take shelter in some of the caves in the mountains north of here. I think they call themselves the Roaches. They requested a shipment of some supplies that were bound for this casino. I can't have that now, can I?
Can you?
The answer is no.
Oh, yeah, no, obviously no. I was just au contraire.
Do you know what those words actually mean?
I assume you do.
You know, I think it's going to be worth just as much to be rid of you as to actually get recompense.
I will find said roaches, and ask your buddy what is it that you're looking for. You said shipment, right?
There will be several large containers. They will have foodstuffs, they will have clothing, and they will have mechanical parts in them. You will bring all of those containers back to me by tomorrow. You will bring them back undamaged and untampered with. And if you do not, then you will sit here and you will get to see just how precise this rifle is. And in case you think I am joking, at which point he takes a shot out the open window,
No.
and you can see a bullet hole emerge in a puff of smoke and asphalt several inches away from one of Lexi's front tires.
My character's like up against the
shit.
glass, like making sure everything's all right. Okay.
I'm so glad that we have an understanding between us now.
Yeah. Me too. I was just, I can go now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you on the flippy flop, and I'll just run. I'll just book it out of there.
So I want to pause for a second and just talk about two of the GMing techniques that I think this could illustrate. Have you guys talked about player rewards much so far?
I don't think specifically.
Not really, no.
Okay, so
No.
different systems have ways to mechanically encourage good role playing. One of the ones I like to steal from is called Savage Worlds. They call them bennies. In short, whenever a player is doing some really good role playing, getting the entire table to laugh, or really hamming up their characters' foibles and quirks, the GM's encouraged to give them a benny. Now, at the end of the game, you could spend a benny for more experience, but most commonly, you can spend them for a reroll. In general, that's nice and simple. Everybody understands, hey, I want to be able to reroll some dice. Alternatively, the system's 7th C, that also allows you to spend a benny for brief narrative control. Example, you walk into a party, hey, do I know anybody there? Well, I don't know, you spend a benny and tell me. Or,
That's
hey,
nice.
is there something nearby that my character could climb to get a better view of the situation? Spend a benny and you get to tell me. Now, the assumption is you can't break the fiction. If I've said you're in a featureless desert with nothing but a few cacti, you can't spend a benny to suddenly say there's a giant palm tree to climb. But if you want to spend a benny to say hidden behind the next sand dune there's a small oasis, that doesn't break the fiction. You can absolutely do it.
That's awesome.
Also, for characters, be it whatever age the player is, where you think there's a lot of anxiety, because many players do fear failure, or they fear having their character injured, giving reroll tokens in whatever form helps give them a little bit of security. The player can save them and, okay, if I'm about to die, spend one of these either to reroll an important roll, or something the Shadowrun system used a few editions ago, you could always spend all of your remaining bennies to cheat death. Doesn't matter if you have 1 or 10, you can just spend them all, and whatever's about to kill you doesn't. The difference being, if you have, let's say, 1 benny left, you spend it to avoid death, it's just by the skin of your teeth. Maybe you're knocked prone, you take some damage, the villain's standing over you, things are looking really grim. Whereas if you burn off 10 points, hey, You make a run for it, you get out of the room, maybe you're in an advantageous position, the villain's temporarily blinded. Things are looking a little bit better for you as a reward for, hey, you burned off a lot of luck. And different systems will call this different things, like drama dice, fate points, whatever. Doesn't really matter. For the moment, I'm just going to go with bennies because that's the term I know as a GM. And I want to award Pinto a Benny because that's some damn good role playing.
No, thanks.
Deserved.
I'll take it.
Deserved.
One
But-
Benny.
And
I also
hilarious.
need to give one to Pietro because you are working that dad bod, sir.
There you go.
You know, it's about time there's representation for dad bodied dudes. It's about time. Thank you, sir.
Right on.
The other thing I wanted to just point out before we continue, have you guys gotten much of a chance to try being NPCs yet in any of the games that you've run?
That
I did in the little room that I ran.
okay.
So when you've been NPCing, do you usually find that one or two character traits become somewhat exaggerated in the way you portray your characters?
Yes.
What I've found, and this is doubly so in a demo game or a one-off, we don't have much time to explain who a character is. I mean, if we're going to be seeing these 4 characters week after week, then I can take a lot of time to learn the ins and outs of who Pity is. But if Boss Harvey is only going to be on screen for maybe 1 session, 1 to 2 scenes, then we don't have time for character development. So when you're working on your NPCs, I strongly encourage you, have 1 to 2 traits, maybe 3 at the most, that you really want to hit. For example, in my notes for Harvey, I have friendly and intimidating. I want to hit those 2 notes very hard with him, and I'm not going to worry about his family, his dreams, his aspirations, because we simply don't have time, nor does the story need that. In this case, we need a menacing villain, so we're just going to focus on those things, not making him a fully rounded human being. The other thing that you'll find as you tend to GM more and more over the years is that we develop stables of NPCs. So while Harvey was originally created in a post-apocalyptic setting, I've also used him in my Vampire the Masquerade games. You just change a few very small details, but the personality remains the same, and now he's an undead casino boss, but effectively everything else is just the same, and I don't have to spend the energy or the time coming up with a new character. This can also be very helpful for when players go somewhere you're not expecting. If it was, hey, I thought you were going to the library and then the courthouse tonight. I did not plan on you going to a casino. Do I have any NPCs in my personal catalog that would fit the casino? Sure, let's break out Harvey. You don't need to come up with a zillion NPCs just from the start, but as time progresses, you'll naturally find, hey, you've got more and more of a stable developing. Anybody have any thoughts, or shall we jump back into our game?
That's awesome.
Okay. So, I'm just going to say, Pinto, you spot the 3 very skilled individuals you were discussing not so long ago, sitting around one of the tables in the casino's restaurant, and you overhear Key mentioning that that they are a little concerned about where you've gone off to.
I'll run past them and like stop, and then kind of like backtrack a bit. But oh, hey guys, what's going on?
Pinto, long time no see. We're supposed to be here. I don't know, like.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So anyway, sorry, Key. Oh yeah, that's cool. Anyway,
It's organic.
I got us a job. That's sure to earn us to stay alive.
Earn us to stay alive?
Yeah, keep on living.
So what I'm interpreting this is you
Did
have
you just-
once again gotten us into a lot of trouble, and you're trying to portray it as though you've done us a favor.
All right,
I was
look
about
here.
to say, did you just get us into some shit?
Look, the stay here wasn't free, and y'all asked what the rocks were in the back. I had to use them, and so here we are.
What were the rocks that were in the back that you used?
Rocks.
What rocks? Why are we talking about rocks? I got us a job.
Pinto. God damn it.
We were fooled by the rocks that he had, and
I think
Every time.
for having simultaneously got the entire table to wince, everyone gets a Benny.
So, Pinto, what the hell is the job? What's the job?
All right. You know how cockroaches suck, right? Well,
Well, are you talking? Okay, out of game, Ben. Do I know the name of the gang or no?
If you want to spend your third question, you can know a little bit about the roaches. Otherwise, the answer is no.
Let's go ahead and use my third question.
So yes, there is a gang known as the Roaches here. They are led by a half-man, half-cockroach mutant who simply calls himself the Hive Lord.
Oh shit.
Half the time, they behave like any other human gang, just scavenging and causing trouble.
Right.
And other times, the Hive Lord will do something crazy like declare war on nature and start setting off explosions throughout the mountains, or
My kinda guy.
instituting a new dam
Oh, fuck.
somewhere that makes no sense. So, popular opinion is that he's either crazy or gone a little bit too much of the roach side.
So don't let him and Pinto be friends. Got it.
this is,
Do you relay that information to us?
Not right off the bat, no.
Okay.
I will tell you guys that they are like who they're led by. So that way it's not kind of like a surprise that there's like a half man, half cockroach.
I push up my aviators and I just say, gross. And you guys have been with me long enough to know that Pietro Gasoline is terrified of cockroaches.
no.
It's not going to be a good day for him at all.
Petro, you know how cockroaches suck, right?
Well, they more like gnaw. I've never really seen a cockroach suck. You know what? Actually, I've not really thought much about how they ingest anything. I would really like to talk about anything other than what we're talking about right now.
And
Well,
I'll
they're
just put my hand on Petro's shoulder and be like, now.
How much of that pool do you think was pee? Like ratio wise, like it was probably like a lot pee, right? Like let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a while.
While they're going off on this little tangent about cockroaches, I'm going to go ahead and open my brain to the psychic maelstrom and
Excellent.
see what kind of craziness I can find out about, like the gang and like what we can do to deal with them.
So that will be 2d6 plus your weird score.
Which is really high, yay.
Nice.
So that would be a 10. Oh wait,
Okay.
yeah, 10.
So on a hit, I tell you something new and interesting about the world, and I get to ask you a question or two. Since you rolled a 10, you get some good detail.
Oh, wow.
In this case, you sense a very faint but discernible psychic presence somewhere to the north. It feels like a connected hive mind, but it's not fully aware or awake.
Okay.
Out of
So,
game.
my
Mark the
question
player.
to you, did Pity train himself, or did he receive training in how to use his gifts?
I would say that he trained himself.
Okay. So you're aware that you're not the only brainer out there, and you've occasionally bumped into some mutant animals that seemed to have human-like intelligence. In fact,
Okay.
once you remember you bumped into what you thought was a colony of rats,
Mhm.
when you were just dealing with one of the little buggers, it was a rat. But when it was around a few of its siblings, they got wicked smart.
Okay.
Wicked smart.
And while this is going on, you guys see Pity's eyes just sort of glaze over, unfocused, and that 50-yard stare kick in.
I say, cool, Pity's with me, as you can see.
Pity.
You guys all
Hello?
in?
Pity. Hello. Just waving my hand.
Was there another question that you had for me before
That was all I had
okay.
for you.
Okay, so I will just kind of start coming back and being like,
Ah, thank goodness.
oh, that's interesting. There's
Something from the weird.
there's something kind of hive mind-esque off to the north of us. But the only bad thing about hive minds is they do tend to be smarter than what the individual creatures normally are.
Yeah.
Oh, it's to the north. All right.
Point of order. Pietro on the outside, he looks fine. His sunglasses, however, belie the fact that he is currently suffering a serious case of the heebie-jeebies.
I go, here, take a hit of this, and it's engine coolant.
You know what I do? I don't trust you, and that seems dangerous, and I'm drawn to it. What's my life like now? How am I different?
Best to just kill yourself before we go. Anyway, anyway, so north is where we're headed, according to Pity. So let's get going. Everyone in the Pinto. And two of y'all's gonna have to sit in the back. Pity's up front.
Oh, gee, thanks. Oh my god.
So I'm assuming that's kind of what I'm connecting is the fact that he said that he's getting something up north. That's the vibe that I need to be driving north, right?
That's where Boss Harvey told you
that's
that
right.
the roaches ambushed his supply convoy.
I'll squeeze in the back of that Pinto.
Sorry, Pietro, I can't really hear you.
Sorry, I'm also my daughter just walked up here, but yeah. So we're gonna I'm gonna make my way to the parking lot. Go and get in my car.
And I'll squeeze in the back of that Pinto. Feeling different from the engine coolant I've ingested.
Don't worry, they're comfy seats back there. You've been back there before.
In fact, as you open up the Pinto, you can see what appears to be an indentation roughly the size of Pinto worn into the back two seats.
It's real comfy.
You mean it used to be, right?
Nah, if you just get the parts that I haven't worn down, it'll be good.
I'll squeeze into the face side of the Pinto indentation. That's where I usually go.
That's the least smell inside. Good choice.
I mean, one of us is going to smell something, so it's going to be you.
Lovely. I'm so excited. Thank you, Pietro. You're always such a good friend. What would I do without you?
Oh, you'd probably walk.
We really made a mistake having P names, all of us. We really did.
It's okay. We're P cubed, remember? And
Yeah,
he's got
P
the key.
Hey.
That's right.
So, Key, as you pull out of the parking lot, I'd like to point out that this 1971 Pinto is quirky and cramped, and you stare longingly at the truck passing by you with two passengers stretching out plenty of room between them. Meanwhile, you get to feel exactly how strong and pointy Pietro's elbow is somewhere near your third rib.
Man, that must be nice. All that room.
I'm absolutely loving this so
Hey,
much.
you're forgetting the number one benefit to a dad bod, which is I am extremely cuddly.
Pedro, will you stay on your side of the damn car?
Nuzzle on in, brother man.
And he just kind of reaches back and pats Pietro on the side and just goes, I think we'll be safe.
These babies don't blow up unless you get in an accident. It's a proven case.
So don't get in an accident.
Just get us there, damn it.
Y'all want some AC? As I'm like hand cranking down a window, like
I'm not drinking coolant for the last time.
He rolls down the window on the other side. Real
yeah.
quick.
Your ears kind of like reverb until it can go down. Yeah, we'll be cruising down the highway.
So, Pity, give me another weird roll as you start down the highway.
Another weird roll. Yay.
Can I be looking out for signs of trouble or anything like that while we're on the way?
Certainly.
11.
Give me a sharp roll as you're doing that.
And that was an 11.
Okay. As you guys are driving north on the highway, it's been somewhat maintained. Like, there are potholes, but it's pretty clear where most of the asphalt is. And from the looks of it, someone's actually put some time and effort into keeping the road usable. But every so often, Pity, you're seeing these psychic vestiges of cars driving by on the road. Usually, they seem to be tied into strong emotions. Like, you spot what appears to be a Suburban with a family arguing in it. And then another mile down the road, you see the burning ethereal wreckage of a motorcycle with a headless biker's ethereal form standing near it. Something's just sort of soaked this stretch of road with psychic residue. Keith, what did you get while you're keeping an eye out for trouble?
Rolled a 9.
Okay. So, this is where we get a little bit more flexibility as a GM. So, if we're just running the rules straight out of the book, you can ask me one question. Okay, no problem there. I like to sometimes offer a deal with players, especially if I think they're going to enjoy this. So you can ask me one question, I'll answer honestly. Or you can ask me up to 3 questions. Some of them may not get honest answers. At least one of them will.
Okay.
Your choice.
Let's go risky. Let's go the second option.
Okay, what are your questions?
What should I be on the lookout for? What's my enemy's true position? And what's my best escape route?
You should definitely be on the lookout for raiders. From the sound of it, somebody knows that commerce happens along this road, and that means it's probably watched by whoever claims this territory. Probably you'd just be keeping an eye out, though, for lookouts. Maybe somebody at the top of a hill, or someone positioned on a ruinous building somewhere that gives a good vantage point. As long as you can make sure that the skyline's pretty clear and no one's snooping on you, you should be safe.
Okay.
As for your exit, right now, it's the road you're traveling on. You've passed 1 or 2 cars, but there aren't too many folks on the road these days, and none of them have any interest in obstructing you. So you should be able to turn tail and beat a hasty retreat in the case of trouble. So, Pinto, you've been driving north for about 30, 40 minutes, and you can see a range of mountains low on the horizon starting to grow closer. Looks like the road curves into and through the mountains. At this distance, you can't make out too many details, but if you were going to ambush a convoy, in the middle of the mountains along a winding road is definitely the place you'd do it.
Would I have noticed anything on the horizon, like you had said, or like any ambush setups leading up to this?
Currently, you haven't seen any people. There are definitely overhanging ledges and low hills at the base of the mountains where you could spring an ambush, but from what you've been able to tell, nothing too troublesome.
Well, that looks like a place where they'd bush us.
An ambush, if I've ever seen one, right?
Yeah. Yep, let's go in faster. And I kind of hit the pedal
No.
to make sure that, well, if they're gonna hit us, if I go fast, it'll be harder. And I do have an ability
Good
called
logic, Pinto.
Daredevil,
Can always count on you.
that if I go straight into danger without hedging my bets, I get a +1 armor. And that works if I'm doing a gang convoy. It also gets a +1 armor.
I will absolutely allow that to trigger.
Sweet.
Eddie, what's up?
He's just like looking at Pinto like, what the heck is wrong with you?
I keep telling you, you can't trust this guy. You can't trust him.
I look over at Penny and be like, nothing. Actually, everything's wrong with this motor vehicle here. Look. And I like tap the gauge, and like the speed's just kind of going back and forth like a metronome. Like it doesn't stay put.
It looks... oh, Lord.
I'm gonna get my pistol out and ready, just in case.
Now,
That's my battle axe.
if any of you all are planning on shooting in my particular vehicle,
More like out of it, but sure.
well, anyway, please crack a window.
I start rolling the window.
Quick question.
Yep.
For one of my gear, it says it's a 1 harm AP area loud reload high tech, and it goes off like a reusable grenade. And it says it hits everyone but you, which means I assume that's got to be on my person when if I have to use it. Yes.
Not necessarily.
It's the projector.
I would say it could be somewhere near to you.
Okay. So, what would something like that physically look like?
So I'd actually turn it around. You tell me. This is your character, and that's an ability that you have. You get to describe it.
So I'm going to say this looks kind of like a almost steampunk version of a thermal detonator from Star Wars. And so Pity just kind of pulls out this thing, and every time you guys have ever seen him use it, it always ends up being painful for anyone nearby except for me. And he's just kind of sitting there like holding it, looking at it. Every so often, just kind of every so often as something just which isn't visible to you guys just catches Pity's eye, and he goes like this and goes.
So a couple of things are going to happen at once. Pinto and Pietro, I need you to both roll me sharp.
All right.
Pity,
Cool.
I want you to roll me weird. Key will come back to you in just a moment. So, Pinto and Pietro, what'd you guys get?
That's going to be a 5 all day, boss. Can I get a bonus for us wearing the same shirt?
Much as I would love to, I'm afraid I can't quite do that this time.
Dirty 10.
10 and a 10 for Pity.
Nice.
Okay, so Pietro, you're just scanning the horizon. No trouble. You see Key getting out their weapon. You see Pity fumbling with that weird little steampunk device of his. Pity.
Mm-hmm.
A voice floats through your mind. Danger. Danger nearby. Coming. Danger. Danger is nearby and coming this way.
Okay. Does it sound like a voice I've heard before?
No, it does not. None of you hear that voice. Pinto, you notice briefly a shadow pass over the car. As you crane your head to look, you can see something flew a couple 100 feet overhead. It's a little hard to make out, but it looks kind of like a really large dragonfly.
I make sure my sawed-off shotgun's on my lap.
I heard something about danger being on the way.
Oh, all right. And I go over to the right side of the road.
You feel much safer now.
Yeah, if you don't drive in the middle, things on the left won't hit you as much.
This is
Technically
true.
correct. That is true. Yeah. Right.
You start to hear, Pity, other voices, very faint. It's almost like a chorus. You can't make out most of the words, but several of them are repeating that word danger. Coming. Danger, danger, danger.
Seems like the hive mind might be aware of us.
Oh. So what they're saying is they're worried. They're scared of me.
So the hive mind, the roaches, they know that we're coming. Cool.
Speaking of that, Pinto, I'm going to need you to give me a cool roll to continue driving as normal when something lands with a loud thump on the roof of Lexi.
Oh, this. All right.
So, would I have been able to notice anything like that since I was looking for an ambush?
Give me a sharp roll.
So
In this case, I didn't allow a roll at first because that was one of the lies I told you.
Ah.
All right, I'll just do blank. Cool.
That's 11.
You catch the sight of something that looks about man-sized and a cross between a dragonfly and a cockroach descending rapidly towards you before it lands with a thump onto the roof. Pinto, what did you get for your driving roll?
6.
Ooh, that's a partial success.
Yeah.
All right, 1 second.
So before it hits the roof of the car, I'm like, guys.
You and
You're
you're
like,
driving.
What?
So in this case, again, we're a very flexible system here. So if you want to take a look on page 30, I'm actually using some of the rules for Road Wars. In this case, outdistance another vehicle. On a 7 through 9, you get to choose one from that list. Either you outdistance them and break away, but you suffer 1 harm. You don't escape them, but you can go to ground in a place you choose. Or they overtake you, but they suffer 1 harm. The AP stands for armor piercing from the strain. So your call.
Would they also take an additional harm if I have like combat driver?
Why, yes. Yes, they would.
I don't know if I want them to overtake us, because like then that would that necessarily mean that they've like we're like spinning out of control? Is that kind of what that means by overtake, or is that they're just they have more advantage on the situation currently?
It would mean that they are basically going to either swarm over you or force you to stop.
Okay. I'm gonna go with they overtake me, but they suffer 1 harm, plus 1 harm, I think, because I got combat driver.
Okay, so all of a sudden the car spins and you hear a sickening crunch as something's exoskeleton breaks in 2 against Lexi.
Oh.
And the rear window is now just covered
Oh,
in a
poor
mixture
Pietro.
of bug guts, blood, and unknown substances.
Holy shit, that is the biggest cockroach I've ever seen.
if I may, so in character you hear, and then that immediately stops. And am I able to manipulate the other NPCs?
You can
promise you this is
certainly
gonna
give me a
go-
roll. What would you like to do?
So what I want to do, I'd like to use my plus hot to do the sexiest thing that Pietro knows how to do with his dad bod, which is to slowly roll up his sleeves, exposing his forearms and his hands. And he's gonna say, I'm gonna need y'all boys to keep me safe with these bugs around, right? I can count on you guys, right?
All right, give me a roll with your hot stat.
I just really wanted to roll hot. Thanks for this opportunity.
So again,
It's a 10.
going back to this is a pretty flexible system. Did you take
Yeah.
the Battle Babe ability Dangerous and Sexy?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
Excellent. Because of good role playing, I'm giving you a +1 on this roll. If you had
nice.
not taken that maneuver, I would have said you have that for this one particular role because of good role playing.
Awesome. So that would bring us up to an 11.
Okay, so on a 10 or better, hold 2. In this case, when you hold points for an ability, they don't really go away as long as the same session or story is going on. You can spend your hold 1 for 1 to make eye contact with an NPC, and they freeze or they flinch and can't really do anything. And because you said you were specifically doing this to strengthen your team's morale, I'll also allow you to spend your hold to give any of your allies +1 on a roll.
Yes. I'm that attractive
Nice.
that I make you
Way
guys
to go.
fight harder. I love that.
Pity, what's going on with our brainer as the car spins to a stop on the right side of the road?
Since the only one of us that I know for a fact is kind of, battle ready at almost all times, I'm going to reach over with my gloved hand and touch Pietro, and using in-brain puppet strings, I'm going to command Pietro to be very strategic with any combat that might happen.
Oh, yes. This is not the first time this has happened between the two of us. I yield to it immediately.
Okay, so in this case, again, we're interpreting. Since he's yielding, I'll say that you can automatically count as having rolled a 7 on this, or you can roll plus weird and actually see what you get, but risk the chance of failure. Your call.
Since he's yielding, I'll go ahead and I'll take the 7.
Okay, so you plant that command, and you get 1 hold, and you can spend that hold to create any of the effects that you see in the move description.
Yeah, which probably is not going to happen.
So as the 4 of you crane your necks out of the car to take in the surrounding terrain, you can see, now that you're closer to the base of the mountains, what you thought were just shadows appear to actually be a series of cave entrances along the base of several of the hills. And from out of them, you can see more of these giant mutated wasp cockroach things emerging. But as 2 more of them take to the air, you also see several of them standing bipedal, holding what look to be guns of some sort, emerging from the ground and walking forward, scanning, looking for you. You're pretty sure that none of the roaches have noticed you yet. What's everyone going to do?
We could do we could pull a backwards ambush where they think they're ambushing us, but we ambush them.
Yeah.
Uno reverse card. I like it.
Give them the old Uno
the old-
reverse.
Yeah, the 1-2. Yeah, wait, yeah. Thanks, Pinto.
Pain?
Can I use a Benny? Can I have a working cassette player?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So I pop in the only tape that I have, which is Black Betty by Spiderbait, and I crank that sucker up pretty loud as we're going up. Whoa, give him the old reverse donkey punch. As I'm like just going right up.
So I would assume that we need to get out of the car, Pinto, and leave the. God damn it!
You know what happens when you make an assumption?
Oh Lord.
We're screwed. I'm gonna load every bullet I can fill in my pistol real quick. We're screwed.
So Pinto, you decided to start driving forward. Is that right?
Yeah. So like after
He's flooring it.
Yeah, we're giving them the old ambush. Wow, didn't see this coming, did they? Yeah.
Now, I want to pause for a second
God.
and again highlight a few good moments here. First, everyone gets a Benny just for good role playing. You're all doing a great job, and I want to encourage that. And this lets me mechanically let the table know, hey, this is good. This is the kind of vibe I'm going for. If I was trying to create a much more sedate, very dark campaign, I probably wouldn't be doing that. But I'm also trying to read the table, and I see, okay, the players are enjoying this, people are wincing and laughing. I want to feed into this vibe naturally, as opposed to fight against the current and try to radically shift the direction of the session. Another thing that you can do, very difficult in a one-shot, but in an ongoing campaign, invite your players to maybe make a little bit of a soundtrack. If each PC wants to bring one or maybe two songs at most, just cue them up in the background. This can be very tricky. It doesn't work for all groups. And not all songs are created equally. Something that's very lyrical may actually be somewhat distracting. Something that has a strong melody without too many lyrics, that tends to work better for background music. But this way, if, let's see, Black Betty or maybe the Dukes of Hazzard theme starts playing, during those scenes, whatever's going on, Pinto gets +1 to his roll. And then, let's say, Veteran of the Psychic Wars by Blue Oyster Cult starts playing. All right, Pity is getting a +1 to his roll because that's part of his theme music. Same can apply for the GM. If we've decided that the Hive Lord, its favorite song is Master of Puppets, awesome. When you start hearing Metallica, I'm getting +1 to my rolls for that scene.
Love that.
If you have a setup that allows you to queue up music, it can work very well having specific tracks show up for specific scenes. But I've also found that, I'd say about 8 times out of 10, just having something set to shuffle and play through a list can work fairly well, as long as you don't have any particular tracks that are very outliers, shall we say, musically. If I have 9 tracks that are combat and then 1 Enya piece, I might want to queue up Enya specifically and with intent, otherwise it might feel a little out of place. So at this point, Pinto has started driving, Key is loading bullets, Pietro and Pity, you just gave a little bit of psychic enhancement to everyone's favorite dad.
Yeah.
You can hear the sound of some of the roaches flying overhead. And from the sound of it, one of them at least is getting closer. But it looks like the 2 emerging from the cave you're driving towards haven't noticed you. So, Pinto, you'll be using your vehicle as a weapon.
Can I hand I'm gonna hand Pity. Oh, you're probably not good with guns, are you?
Probably not.
I'll
Here's
take
the
it.
thing. Anyone can do any basic move.
That's
So
true.
if Pity just wants to use the go aggro move,
Yeah.
absolutely fine. He doesn't get any special bonuses, like the Battle Babe or the Gunlugger might get.
I have other ways of going aggro.
In that case, what I'll do is I will hand Petro I'll like reach back and hand him my sawed off. And I was like, hang on one second, Petro. It's gonna get intimate. And I'll like throw that back at you.
Oh,
and
no need. No need.
Oh, you're
and
good?
I put the axe away and I pull out my other bit of gear, which is a silenced semi-automatic pistol that I've been carrying around. I don't like it because it's not as flashy or gorgeous, but I'm like, I got Mortimer here.
Oh, so we're getting serious. Okay.
It's not as good on the gram.
Okay. Yeah, that's good on the gram.
I need
All right, well, I'll have it sitting somewhere so someone can grab it if they need it, because I need both hands for this.
So
just put it down here between the seats.
I put it in the cup holder.
Nose.
Barrel first, so you can just grab it by the handle. And
Pity's
we're
like
going around the table. In this case, initiative is simultaneous. This is all going to be happening at once, but I'm just going one by one. Pinto, if you look on page 30, you'll see one of the moves is deal with bad terrain. Give me a cool roll plus your vehicle's handling stat.
Sweet. I have a +1 to that. All right. 10.
Okay, you are flying through untouched. You don't have to choose any of those options, but the Pinto whips around the narrow highway into the mountains. Several of you look over to one side and see that he has a whopping 3 whole inches of safety before the road ends.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep. I've cranked up the music just a little bit more.
I'm singing
All
along
right.
in the back. Whoa, Black Betty,
Wow, Black Betty.
Blackberry jam.
Pietro, you'd gotten out a gun. Key, you were getting out a gun. Are you two going to be shooting, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll shoot some stuff.
Yeah, if there's enemies actively coming at us, I probably would have been. Yeah.
All right. In this case, roll plus hard, unless you have a special playbook ability you'd like to use.
I have ice cold, which if what's happening is what I think is happening. I can roll on go aggro as plus cool instead of plus hard.
Absolutely. You can do that. No problem.
All right.
Just out of curiosity, can any of these creatures see me?
You're pretty sure that at least one of the flying ones can see you, and as Pinto whips around one of the turns, you get a good look at one of the guards standing there in the entrance to the cave. You can see several more of the roaches inside the cave, but if you're trying to lock eyes with that guard, you have an opening.
Well, I was thinking of doing the direct brain whisper projection.
I believe that will be a roll plus weird.
Yeah, it's to get the effects of going aggro without going aggro.
Okay, so pity roll plus weird. Pietro, how did your roll go?
So I got a 6, and I'm wondering because this is a big moment for me, full of terror. I'm wondering if I can use a Benny to re-roll that, or I would gladly accept my 6 if you think that's going to be better for the story that we're all telling.
No, I'd say feel free to use that Benny. That's what they're there for. Pity will come back to you in a sec.
All right. So whatever this is, it's going to be +3 because I'm so cool. That is much better. So that is a 14.
Damn.
All right.
I did that right? It's not too high. 6 + 5 is 11 + 3 is 14. Did it. Did math. Got it.
Math.
I did
Buddy,
the math.
Petro.
Thanks, buddy.
So if you'll take a look on page 29, there's the move Seize by Force. That's not technically what we're doing here, but I think it applies. So on a 10 or better, choose 3. What 3 would you like to choose, Pietro?
Ooh, all right. So first and
Nice.
foremost, we're gonna inflict terrible harm.
Yeah.
I want them, even if they recover, they're gonna be different. You know,
So what's
it's
the
gonna
harm value of your weapon?
the harm value of the weapon that I have currently equipped is. I wrote this down terribly. So sorry. So it is a 2 harm.
All right, so that turns it into a 3, which is the equivalent of taking a machine gun blast to the stomach.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt when it rains.
Popped in a 50 cal.
Now, I will point out, several of the Roach Gang have started dive bombing the car, and you're starting to see bits of the ceiling get torn apart by spears, as well as a few bullets coming your way from the few bipedal ones that are armed. So you are definitely going to be taking some damage. Would you like to take less damage by selecting that option?
See, I got some choices here because I can either take 1 less harm, which is smart, or I can do the beautiful thing, which would be to take definite and undeniable control over this situation and then impress and dismay and frighten our enemies. Now,
Well, you have a healer sitting next to you. Just keep that in mind.
yeah, I'm gonna look over at my healer friend, and I'm gonna know we're gonna get better. And I'm gonna do the flashy, beautiful, gorgeous man thing, and I'm going to take definite, undeniable domination of this situation in such a way that the third and final act is that all of our enemies are going to be impressed, dismayed, and frightened. So they're going to be like, damn!
Damn!
Damn! How many arms they have? They all doing this.
All 6 arms.
Damn!
All right, and since this is all happening... Nope, I gotta give it to you, Pietro. You got the entire table laughing with that one, so you get your Benny right back.
Benny back.
Yes!
Benny!
All right, Key, how did your attack roll go?
That's an 8.
All right, so same chart as Pietro was using, but in this case, you only get to choose 2 options.
Okay. I'm going to inflict terrible harm by targeting the bipedal ones with the weapons.
Okay.
And I am going to suffer little harm as I try to slam myself back into the car and seeing Pietro just kind of half hanging out the car, just displaying himself, getting ready to heal his ass.
So, Pinto, I need you to give me a roll plus weird.
Just to hedge the bets, while that's happening, I'm giving you like a football tap. I don't know how I'm doing that in the car, but I'm giving you a football tap. That's going to be one of those holds that I've held on to. So it's going to give you that bonus.
Pinto?
2 Pinto on this roll.
What's
All
the
right,
what's the
plus
bonus?
1.
+1 to it? Okay. Yeah, you bet. Let me plus weird, eh?
Yep.
You got this, champ.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure that our driver's very weird.
Usually.
Because it's 2d6, right?
Yep.
11.
Hey.
Okay, so you hear the voice of Lexi crying out in pain as bullets pierce her skin
I'm sorry.
and her oily blood leaks into the hard desert ground. They've shot your wife, and it fills you with determination and rage.
Also a little turned on.
Also,
This is kind of mine her thing.
We had a weird energy going on in this group, guys, and I just...
You just now figured this out.
I love it so much.
Yeah, I can't be happy. And I like petting the top. Like, it's okay, girl. We'll get them. And I like grip the handles even more as Thunderstruck
Pinto
clicks
gets
on.
an indefinite +1 to all rolls for the rest of this battle.
Let's go.
And Pity, you had gotten, was it a 9 on
9.
your roll to go aggro using your mind?
Yeah, to get the effects going aggro without going aggro.
So you can sense a very strong psychic presence drawing closer. Do you want to try to mentally dominate this guard? Or do something else?
Yes.
Yes.
Mentally talk.
Primarily, I was trying to kind of instill fear to him to make him like run away.
So what you all see, okay. So I get the image that this would be sort of the freeze frame moment that the trailer would focus on as Pinto is white knuckling the wheel, a look of rage and ecstasy on his face. Pietro and Key unloading one from each side of the car into the swarm of mutant roaches. Pity stares for just a moment at the gate guard, who, once again, throws up all 6 of his arms, begins to flee into the cave, when all of a sudden a massive arms, veins bulging, almost tearing through the skin, but bits of chitinous exoskeleton holding muscles into place, grabs the fleeing roach, and all of you hear just this loud, angry chittering. Pity, you hear in your head, "Weakling! Unwelcome in my swarm!" And with a crack, the neck of the fleeing guard is snapped, and striding into view, all 9 feet tall of the Hive Lord dominates the entryway to the cave.
So, with that, so Pity just cracked his neck, right?
No, Pity caused the guard to flee,
okay.
which then led to the enraged Hive Lord to kill his unworthy servant.
All right. Now, normally, is there anything, the entrance of this cave, does the road connect directly to it, or does like the road kind of peer off and we have to get out?
You'd have to probably go up a steeper hill than you think Lexi can handle to get there without getting out of the vehicle. At best, you could probably get to maybe 20 feet away. Then it's a short scramble up the hill, and you'd be at the cave entrance.
All right. Can I spend a Benny?
No.
Is there...
Do what?
No.
No,
Yes.
hold on. Hear me out.
I think I know where he's going. I want him to do this.
So, assuming that it's like it's a slap together gate and all that kind of stuff, can I spend a Benny to see if I see a spot that I can shoot with my shotgun to see if I can knock down a big enough piece to make a ramp? I know it sounds pretty intense, to kind of maybe counteract that distance of like having to like up a dirt hill or something like that, where I could just hit the ramp and maybe get to that faster.
First, you absolutely can spend a Benny to do that.
Okay,
what
cool.
they are there for.
Yeah. Whether it's there or not.
But you are definitely going to need to give me a roll to control your vehicle.
Okay.
I would say this is probably going to be under fire, so roll plus cool.
All right. And I'll whisper like, "Oh, don't worry, babe. Like, hang on one second." And like, I'll just kind of like let go of the wheel to look and let my babe do the thing. So under cool, right? All right, here we go.
Yep.
Holy shit.
12?
He starts freaking out in the front seat.
Yeah, exactly. I like lean forward as then like looking. I got a 12.
So I just get this image of Key, Pietro, and Pity all swiveling their heads at the same time to notice the steering wheel is not being held as the car ricochets off this impromptu ramp.
Screaming.
And skids to a stop on the ledge next to where this 9-foot-tall, half-human, half-cockroach gang boss stares, mandibles agape, at whatever the hell just happened.
Which side of the car is facing the entrance?
Give me my side. I'll let it be the driver's side.
All right, there we go.
I'll like kind of peel up next to him and just like kick the door open and be like, "It's okay, baby," and I'll like get out and then I'll stand up.
I'll just
Before
start
anything happens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that last hold that I have, where I am both dangerous and sexy, and I'm gonna catch his eye. And this this big bad evil guy, this 9 foot tall cockroach man thing is gonna look at me, look at Pietro Gasolin and go, damn.
Damn.
Okay.
So the menacing Hive Lord was about to start monologuing, but something just catches in his throat, and you hear the sound of his mandibles clicking, and through it all you can still make out, damn.
Yes.
Pietro's the bard. That's what we have.
Loving it. Loving it. Perfect.
He's the barbarian.
Barbarian.
Oh, and he's
Yes.
terrified. He can't deal with what he's
Oh,
looking
that's
at.
right.
So no, this entire time, Pietro, the only reason he's not screaming is because of Pity's command. But internally, he has soiled himself multiple times.
Yeah, Key knows you're losing it, and he's proud of you. Or they're proud of you, sorry.
So Key and Pity, both of you have noticed behind the Hive Lord, you can see not just several containers of what you assume to be raided supplies, but furniture, a weapons rack, barrels of scavenged food, and at least half a dozen other mutant human cockroach hybrids.
Pity goes, I guess it's time. Hits a little switch on his little ball and just throws it into the middle of the cave.
Oh, shit.
The younglings.
So you throw it in the midst of all of that stuff?
Uh-huh.
We're fucked.
I watch it go
Alright.
soaring over. I'm like, oh,
Pinto,
we
you're
can't go
fucked.
back. We can't go back.
Pinto, you're fucked.
Oh, you know what?
Consequences.
Here we go. So he throws it. I have one more Benny. Can I run off the back of Lexi and jump up and just like side kick the grenade towards the cockroach boss to like change the trajectory?
Well, I was aiming for it to land like in the middle of all of the baddies, not necessarily in the middle of all this stuff.
The stuff? Oh,
No.
are
It's
they
above-
amongst?
it's in the middle of the baddies, not in the middle of the stuff.
Oh, I thought you were throwing at the stuff. I was like,
No.
I'm dead.
Yeah, I was like, we're screwed.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Then I won't do that then.
All right, so is that one of your keying off weird abilities, Pity?
That is my projector that I'm throwing out there.
All right, I'm still going to say roll plus weird to see... Oh, this is the pain wave projector?
Yes.
That's what.
Never mind. Don't need to roll. All right, so the rest of you notice as the swarm begins readying themselves for battle, all half dozen or so of them just start twitching and flailing maniacally, and sparks of brilliant purple-blue energy streak out from the fizzing, sparking thing Pity's thrown, and they are all convulsing with pain for the next several moments.
Even the bad boss guy.
The Hive Lord is in pain and is no longer distracted by just how sexy Pietro is.
Damn!
Oh no.
Well,
Wait, can I spend a Benny to have him both be in pain and distracted? This is very important to my spirit.
I will allow it.
Oh.
However,
Go.
Pietro is about to learn a valuable lesson that not
Oh,
everyone
shit.
responds to pain in the same way,
Oh.
as wings pop open on the Hive Lord's
Oh.
back, and he charges you, flying and attempting to grab you and toss you bodily into the brainer.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Well, considering how you started that sentence, this could have gotten a lot worse, so I accept these circumstances.
So, unless you want to just try to roll with it, you're going to need to give me a hard roll.
You got it, boss. All right. I'm trying to find anything that I can do that's different here. All right. Yeah, hard roll. Now, I do have ice cold. So can I
And you
roll
can
plus
substitute
cool? So he's just too cool for school that he's gonna try to dodge out of the way of this with a fun insult that I've been holding on to for about 15 minutes.
Let's hear your insult.
Oh my god, I got dub 6s. So,
Nice.
so that's gonna be a 15, and he's just gonna like footloose shimmy right out of the way of him, and he's gonna go, "Have at it, Hive Lord."
And get your Benny back for that.
Yeah.
As Pietro sidesteps the aerial assault of the gang boss, he is dead on in front of you and hasn't realized that you're there. What would you like to do?
Me?
No, Key.
Oh, Key.
Oh, Key. Okay.
Key.
They're gonna go ahead and just unload on the Hive Lord.
That will be going aggro. So unless you have a special ability, that will be rolling plus hard.
All right, that is a 6.
Would you like to spend a Benny to reroll?
I would, yeah.
All right.
All right. All right, that's better. That's an 8.
Okay. So your choice. Either the two of you both connect on each other and trade harm, the Hive Lord retreats, or he's willing to talk.
Nice.
Let's talk it out.
All right. A line of bullets traces the ground in front of the gang lord's feet. He snaps out of it for a second, sees that he's now in the middle of a crazed driver, an intimidating, pain-tossing brainer, the sights of a angel who looks like he's actually much more of a sniper right now,
That was my turn. I posed too
and
soon.
a disturbingly sexy
They, by the way.
dad. The hell do you all want here?
Actually, the stuff that you procured the other day, that stuff in there, and I point at it, we're gonna need to take that back.
Yeah, your buddy wants that back.
Yeah, our buddy now, actually.
No, he said he was his buddy. Your buddy.
Yeah,
you hear some clicking, his mandibles chirp. Two of the guards push out the nearest crates. You take that and you get the hell out of here.
More
Are
like
those actually what we are supposed to be getting?
No, we needed food.
It was
we
like-
needed supplies.
That's the last things I stole.
Hold on, fellas. Crack. If I'm one thing, it's I'm hot and convincing. So I'm going to try to manipulate to try to get him to give us everything that we need. I have precisely 3 bennies, and I would like to
give me
spend.
a roll plus hot.
Oh, hey, and they also like did a work on my car.
I'll see if I can get him to buff that out for you.
Yeah, or something.
Is there any way I can help him with this?
I do have 3 bennies, so that was a. That's not enough. That's an 8.
So in general, you can only spend 1 Benny per roll.
Okay.
Key, you can always roll to assist someone. You have to give me some idea of what you're doing to help them.
Okay.
And then you roll plus your history score with Pietro.
Okay, so I want to help
Mm.
convince the Hive Lord with whatever Pietro's gimmick is here. But I also have professional compassion, so I can roll plus sharp instead of history when I help someone.
So you choose whichever's higher, your history with Pietro or your sharp.
Pietro, or how do I determine the history? Is it his or mine?
So during character creation, you should have written down Pietro and then a number next to it.
Okay.
Since we're almost out of
I'll
time,
I'll take the plus 3. Okay. And that'll be a 10.
All right, and so you give Pietro an additional +2 on whatever his roll was.
Boop, boop, boop. Sorry.
That brings it up to a 10.
Yes.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yes.
So, let's talk really quick about epilogues. In this case, we're out of time. Much like a session with a client, sometimes you'll just need to go over by a minute or two, but ultimately, you will need to call it at some point. So, rather than leave things hanging, we're just going to take a moment to talk our way through an epilogue and wrap things up here. The Hive Lord gestures towards one of the guards, and he pushes out a 4th container. But as the guard does that, you can also see several of the other roaches, as well as some of the dragonfly hybrids, alight on the ground near you. And the bipedal ones all have weapons trained on you. That's 4. Take it and go.
Perfect.
It's pretty clear the roaches are willing to fight to defend anything else they've got. And you're pretty sure that that's enough to keep Boss Harvey happy.
Pity's going to see if he can grab his projector back.
If you are going to get past a bunch of the bugs,
Oh,
that
no.
will... Sorry?
I'll just reach over with my left hand and touch the boss guy on the shoulder and go, I would really like to have that projector back
Give me
and
a
use
little
the
weird, then.
puppet strings. And if I choose to use a Benny, I can re-roll, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm using one of my bennies. Definitely reusing one of my bennies. Much better. That is a 13.
Don't touch me. But he allows you to retrieve your device.
Okay.
When he like kind of leans over to let him go through, I want to walk up to him and like I put away my shotgun and I pull out a business card. and it's just got a picture of my Pinto on it. That's it. I'm like, look, if you need anything, my name's Pinto. I drive that Pinto pretty damn well, if you haven't noticed. And then as I'm doing that, on my cassette player, Seal's "Kiss from a Rose" starts playing. I'm like, shit! And I like run back and I like keep like trying to like push pause on it to like stop it. And then it finally like, cuts off. I'm like, yeah. Anyway.
So, as the tunes of "Kiss from a Rose" drift off onto the breeze, the 4 of you beat a hasty retreat back to the Lost Wages Hotel and Casino. The hive of mutant cockroaches watching you depart, counting their dead and telling tales of the 4 mighty warriors of the apocalypse who laid waste to their brethren. Boss Harvey is willing to accept this tribute in exchange for your debt, Pinto, and in fact is even willing to let the 4 of you stay another night at the casino. And as we're calling it closed, in 1 or 2 sentences, tell me what's each of you going to do with your free night back at the casino, celebrating your victory.
I have on one of my things as an improvement that I have a garage or like a workspace. So I take Lexi back there and I'll fix her up a bit and take advantage of the cassette player with "Kiss from a Rose" on it.
Pietro?
So I'm definitely going to go to the hotel bar and I'm just going to smolder. Just generically, just to the entire room, I'm just going to smolder. And I'm going to see, what kind of flies get attracted to this honey. That's what I'm going to do. And when the scene kind of fades black to me, it shows me looking at the gram, and I've got 2 more followers than I did before, both of which are the cockroach things that we were just fighting.
The Hive Lord liked that.
The Lord liked that.
Kitty.
I comment on that, Hive Lord.
What about yourself, dear Brainer?
Pity will be sitting off in a corner watching Pietro while fiddling with his little projector, and every so often just a knife kind of just pops out of one of his sleeves and he puts it back away and just continues fiddling and checking out what kind of trouble he's getting into.
How's the end of the night treating you?
I would be near Pietro, just keeping an eye on how much trouble they get into as I have a neat glass of whiskey, thinking about everything that could go wrong tonight.
Whiskey.
And it ends as it began, in a dingy hotel bar with a drink in hand. So, welcome to Apocalypse World, folks. I hope you had fun.
This group is way too much fun to do things like this with.
I agree. Yes.
I still have a Benny left over.
So do
I have
I.
one. Yeah.
I've still
Yeah,
got
I got
3
one.
bennies. I got so
Oh,
many shenanigans
damn.
left.
Yeah,
in that.
yeah.
Last question for the four of you. Do you think this is a system that you could potentially either use or lift elements from sometime in your own GMing?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think for quick one-shots, it would be really entertaining. I would have to do a bit more reading into it than what we got to do tonight.
Well,
I
Yeah.
think so too. Yeah.
if you have any questions, feel free to message me on the Discord. Some of the other systems that use this, like Monster Hearts, are specifically designed, for example, a teenage drama. That was a system written by someone who was transitioning while they were redesigning it for Monster Hunter's 2nd edition. So there's a lot of stuff dealing with interpersonal relationships there. Whereas Circles of Power, that's another Powered by the Apocalypse game that specifically talks about oppression and the conflict between minorities and majorities. Whereas Apocalypse World is very much playing it straight. We're here to enjoy some post-apocalyptic Road Warrior-esque fun.
It was a
So
lot of
thank
fun.
you all for playing. I had a blast running for you, and I hope anyone watching had a good time tonight.
Yeah, thank you. That was a
Man,
lot
I
of fun.
appreciate
Thank
your
you.
style
Thank you.
too, by the way. I got to pat
Yeah.
you on the back then. All those teachable moments you kept handing us was
Mhm.
awesome.
Mhm.
I feel like I've leveled up because of this session tonight.
I
Thank you
agree.
very much.
I
I'm
agree.
glad it was worth it.